Chill here with Sirius Dallas Moon hours, soul night, and Sun is squaring Lilith. From conjunction with Fomalhaut and Rahu. And that means that Lilith is applying to square the nodes. She will be squaring the nodes in the lunar eclipse. That being said, the way I would describe the Sun and Lilith square is the following. It's kind of like somebody, when children taunt each other and want to say, well, I don't know, in not high school, elementary school, we would say, oh, your father is all naked, or your father is this, your father is that. And with this square, it's kind of like Lilith is there and says, he might be. Your father is an upset, he might be. Your father is a rapist, he might be. And so, and there's another thing happening in the energy is that somebody or some people have tendency to, there's something scorpionic to use, although there's, other than the midheaven, nothing is particularly scorpionic in the sky. Lilith is sidereally in Scorpio, but Scorpio may have the tendency to magnetize. Now, how should I say that? Basically, okay. Something cannot be a secret The good news is that Sol is going from the square to the trine. Okay, by next month, by the end of next month, Sun will basically trine Lilith. And she will trine Lilith from Aries. So Sun is exalted in Aries. Now, here's the thing with the magnetization of kind of like either the Mars pole or the Scorpio pole. Maybe it's even the North Node, I don't know. It can't, how should I say that? What that magnetizing energy is magnetizing cannot be kept on a leash. And that's probably to do with that Lilith. And it's going to be a full journey gone wrong to think that Lilith can be tamed. Not from a power position. Lilith is not seeking to be above or below anyone. And this could denote a certain erotic incompatibility, or in cases like with the previous discussions, somebody being a part of a petering, trying to magnet someone and that can be their downfall. It definitely brings authenticity, but it exposes that Scorpio for all. I'm talking about the scorpionic energy that is working like a magnet, is actively trying to magnet something or someone. This is something that has been going on for some time. And Lilith. She is not something that is tameable. But she's also not something that will, and I think that this energy knows it. It's kind of like the one thing that was not going. Okay, because I think it denotes a certain erotic incompatibility. Lilith erotically is not compatible with power games. Is not compatible with paradigms of winners and losers. Winners and losers in Lilith domain is rape mindset. And this exposes, sometimes I'm wondering if that thing, that thread that has been there in the energy for quite some time, is not actually some sort of a part of certain events that unfold, something to do with Epstein Tetru stuff. Think about the story of Lilith and Adam. It's not that Lilith is not thinking Adam is attractive. It's just that Lilith is not above or below anyone. Not in bed, not outside of bed. And it seems like it is possible that this truth, what I just said, is unfolding as a pedo rig drop. And here's the thing, Lilith was not placed there as a honeypot. This is why it's unfolding in that way. She was not placed there as a honeypot. She was not seductive. In fact, she's insisted on what is missing to either be there or she'll be elsewhere or even alone. And this situation, because Lilith is not a honeypot, is unfolding something on a megalithic scale. And this is something pertaining to the Scorpio generation, the Pluto Scorpio generation. Not only them, but it's the contemporary domino effect of the Petering fall. Lilith will Lilith. Lilith needs body, heart, mind, and soul, sovereign love that is actually love in sensuality, that is embodied, and so on. She doesn't compromise on that. That's the undertone of Lilith. Because Lilith is marketed as this succubus, incubus, demon, none of that. None of that. All of that is pedo washing. She's not a honeypot. She's not. None of that. And trying to subjugate Lilith or is doing the opposite of what people would want her to do. Now again, I'm not here saying that this is happening consciously or but there is this scorpionic energy. It doesn't mean Sun Scorpio, it's something placement, something that can't really let go of that Lilith figure in their lives. And I'm not sure what it is. And it might also be connected. It might be more than one person. Because the very Lilithesque themes were coming up also for other Pluto generations. Okay, we remember the eclipses we had with Rahu Lilith. I think it was a year ago, 2 years ago. We had eclipses with Rahu Lilith. The Lilithesque eclipse. And now Lilith will be squaring the nodes. The Lilithesque eclipse brought Ring drop. And now Lilith will be squaring the nodes. Now the themes that come up with Lilith, every single time Adam thinks he's going to try to subjugate Lilith, and Lilith can't be with Adam. Even if she is exiled, she can't be with Adam. In subjugation mode, she can't be with Adam. He's trying to Eve her. But what I see here is Lilith. 444. He's trying. No, there's something really scorpionic that really tries to kind of use every trick in the book to get something at their power or going by their. Not compatible. It could draw an obsession with that scorpionic energy. But it causes. How should I say that? It doesn't cause the desired effect that they wanted to cause. And it costs a lot. I see a feminine energy getting angry. That feminine could be a missy, could be a colleague, could be a partner, family member, I don't know. But she already sees that this trying to tame Lilith costs a lot. And it could be that at some time she even benefited. But now even she sees that it costs her a lot to. It costs her even her marriage. With all the joint ventures that entails. Or from her perspective, it costs him his marriage. With her. Okay, there's there's the Lilith woman, and then there is the energies that see that, wait a second, or if something was supposed to be a setup, that's already costing way too much energy. And if it was something that some missy or some partner or some what was aware of and went on with it, or wasn't aware of but benefited and then said, but okay, and so on. But then she sees what is she dealing with? Who is that person that this Scorpio energy is trying to magnet? Who is this Lilith? And she says, no, this is costing a lot. Or somebody is trying to Eve Lilith, and Lilith says, well, drop the Peter Ring, drop the cloning projects, drop the Zero Rape, Zero Slavery Society, and so on and so forth. And that other feminine energy, she says, is costing a lot. If somebody was trying to magnet this Lilith for the clout, what gone is, they are, I wouldn't say enamored because there's way too much power dynamic here to even talk about this in such terms. Um, but even if they are, I don't know, developed feelings or whatnot, um, they could be in limerence. Or they have to really check with themselves, but they could be in limerence. And and this is because that Lilith wasn't a honeypot. And that feminine energy, whether she sees it or not, and she does, she's like, no, that's too costly. Um, Sun square Lilith will grow to Sun trine Lilith. Because with Lilith stuff, it's always okay. Zero rape, zero slavery. The underlying erotic issues here have to do with something having to be consistently zero rape, zero slavery, which means zero emotional abuse, all those things. If it is outside of the context of like the Epstein files and stuff like that, it simply means that somebody has to wear their heart on their sleeves. And they have to see to the discernment that somebody is not a honeypot. Now, if they have, I don't know, other commitments and so on and so forth, then they have to go. They have to go see themselves with themselves before they can proceed on to either. Um, if it is the echelons of the of the files, then somebody has to understand that somebody is not a honeypot, and they see it probably. Um, and and that this magnetizing, trying to keep someone under their control, and then I'm not blaming, because those things can be very subconscious, or they could be downright conscious and aware, but yet not knowing what to do with that or how to deal with that, and so on and so forth. And or keeping to try to do the things that are not open, honest, vulnerable, because the setting probably was supposed to be something that maybe works with honeypots. But that person was not a honeypot. And there were consecutive attempts to show as if this person is. But I think by now everybody knows. Now, what is showing, what is unveiling, is that there's some chapter to some Epstein affiliated or Rolodex affiliated. Because somebody was disrespecting someone who was not at all meeting them in context of a honeypot. And this could expose some extortion cult. Now, I don't know exactly what is the context, but it seems to be that the misuse of power against a Lilith that is not a honeypot um, caused a downfall. Now, with Saturn Neptune, it didn't cause a downfall in the beginning. It could have even caused, yes, if people were doing that for the clout, it could have even caused something that was like a lot of hidden wealth. But then that wealth goes to some things as the bubbles pop. That wealth goes to something. It could be kind of like money made, but has to go to medicine. Because because they caused a disease, or they caused I don't know, abnormal weight, or they caused something that is the result of some sexual boundaries that were violated. And those that were doing that for the clout or got themselves entangled, again, if that is the case, not here making assumptions, is basically a reading, may resonate, may not. That it caused collapse of quite some people in a way where it has to do with the fall of the Bolikolis. Something was thought to be a controlled collapse, but they didn't foresee the sovereignty part. They didn't foresee what would be the results of that, of something collapsing in Aries. They foreseen there's something collapsing from the core, from the foundations, but not that the collapse is a part of an individual zero rape, zero slavery sovereignty. And they see that they're either their power trip or something that's a bit more intricate than that. Okay, whatever, it's not about judgment. That it was something was too costly. Or somebody could get the one up on a person that was not a honeypot, and that was costly. If they got the one up on that person who was not a honeypot, it ended up being costly. It ended up costing more than it made. It ended up, and the cost is emotional. The cost is emotional because basically, if they were participating in undermining the foundation of someone, it caused them their own foundations. That being said, Sun is square in Lilith, is going from the square to the trine. Yes, I don't like to leave things doom and gloom. I say, this is the situation, this is the reading right now. They see that those things are costly. They see that undermining the foundations of someone would undermine their own foundations. From this point, there's point of interference, okay? That being aware can actually prompt solutions, but those solutions have to ensure zero rape, zero slavery, full sovereignty, because that's the only way out of the entanglement that that was created, either because somebody was, probably they were seen right away that somebody's not a honeypot, and maybe that was not undermined, but shook their foundations. And this could create, this could have created a situation where one was felt under the spell of, simply because somebody was not a honeypot, and they identify that there's a person walking in the crowd completely not a honeypot, in a crowd that is completely not built for people who are not a honeypot. And they know that, and then what I feel is that probably there could have been something that was under governing, that caused to try to exploit something that would undermine the exploiter. But I'm getting that it could be something that was under governing. And then it began to be really costly. Now, to the person that wasn't the honeypot, it took a lot of time because they did not understand. Because something was there and they did not understand what is it doing. They were trying to see things from the perspectives that they had, and they were trying to even warn that person that they're not walking into a honeypot situation. There's something else here. And that what's being released, talking about this Uranus at the end of Taurus again, has to do with peterings and extortion calls. And I see kind of like ladies around them, or females around them, or feminine energies around them. And they're not satisfied. They're not happy. They may have been happy in the beginning, thinking it's a honeypot setting, and they got the honeypot, or they're gonna they're gonna milk the one that's trying to milk them, or something like that. But it's not. Or somebody tried to, and I'm getting that it was from the perspective of really feeling powerless in a situation because somebody was not a honeypot. But on the other hand, when they try to exploit something, they ran into a thing, and it looks like both of them ran into, because how should I say that? As something that happened, what was done to the person that was not the honeypot, the person that did that let's just say um, they kind of got a reminder that this exploit works two ways, but not from the side of the honeypot. There's another thing. There's another thing. It's kind of like if you go that route, you know that it's not just you being a perpetrator. You also go get hurt. And from the perspective of that person, they were like, kind of like, hey, there's not much I can do about it. But that also means that if I lose my sense of self, I can't grant you protection from assassination by me. Because, to be, okay, it's kind of like, hey, and vice versa. Yeah, but I'm not harming you. And and then he was constantly trying to show that he can be that partner, that he can be that person, that he can be that. And now I have no idea what was the other context. It can be something like, I don't know, somebody was having a crisis in his life, and then he had to show that he can be that partner, but to another person. Okay, like I really don't know what was the context, but it's something that has been going on for quite some time. And because harming that person was not a honeypot, was undermining one's own sense of self, competence, in the face of someone that never sought to challenge any of those, which unveiled that there are skeletons in the closet. um, Now, to the extent that there were, dependent on how many people that were not the honeypot that person or people encountered, to the extent it collapses, because it doesn't necessarily mean that there's this one person who was not the honeypot. Sometimes it is, but in many cases it isn't. It's kind of like a collateral collapse. The wave of people that are honeypots or in honeypot settings, handlers and extortion cults, met the wave of people that are not. And it's not about better or worse, it's about circumstantial. And it's a collateral wave of collateral collapse. Okay, so And then in the background, there was somebody that was trying or set to groom somebody. And this particular thing may have caused somebody to apply for euthanasia. And then as people looked into the case, um, they found more unveilings. And this setting that was groomy settings or whatnot, it causes it causes a person to, how should I say that? It could have caused the person that was not a honeypot to begin to repel. That it could have been in their appearance, in weight, in hygiene, because their essence repelled the trafficking grooming settings. Like I said, it was an appeal for euthanasia, so much so, because they did not want any of that. And it's visible to the extent that to not be around that. And this only exposed further the megalithic scale of those things.